Now, when we look at all these solutions or the capabilities of the low-code, no-code platforms, the developing of dashboards, business insights have become so easy. This, again, from my experience after implementing many low-code, no-code solutions across multiple domains, including telecom, we figured out creating new dashboards, especially Creation Platform has immense set of capabilities of defining multi-different dashboards. And most of these dashboards, once when we demonstrate to the users, users themselves can pick up very easy and create the dashboards, insights, the way they want. Sometimes, as solution providers, we might take some time to understand their business demand. Therefore, we have to understand their demand, business demand for business insights first, and then come up with a design approach. Then we can develop that. All that takes time. But when we enable users with low-code, no-code platforms, they take it to the next level because they know what exactly they want. All we do is enable them using the low-code, no-code or Creation Platform, and they do wonders. We have seen them doing wonders with all these enablement, because when the business user becomes the developer himself, that reduces a lot of gaps. That reduces communication gaps, that reduces the design gaps, because he knows what exactly he wants out of the system. Now, the low-code, no-code platform is integrated to multiple different systems, and that can fetch data, information from lots of different systems, and everything is at one place. And using, if I take Creatio as an example, it has multiple different objects. So we will create different objects like orders, invoices, the products and services they have subscribed to. We can make all these objects available for the users to access via the dashboard creation. So in the dashboard creation, simply they can drag and drop an object, pick and choose what information they want, what formulas to apply, and whether should that be a pie chart, should that be a bar graph, all that they can, it's a drag and drop, plug and play. They can quickly decide what they want. They can change that on the fly and decide what exactly the business insights they're looking for, and keep on changing, keep on refining until they find the exact sweet spot of the business insights. This actually has created a very powerful combination of business users and technology. This is the biggest one. That's why I'm spending a little more time over here, because this is where it all boils down to: business insights and faster information retrieval using the low-code, no-code or the Creation Platform. With that, the most difficult challenge or ever demanding challenge for business insights can be very easily addressed. And we have testified, we have seen how it happens, and it's really nice to see how the business users are taking that forward. That's actually the future. No point of us as software solution developers holding all that. It's all about enabling the business users and support their growth, support their business development and the business growth. That's actually what I wanted to share with you in this short duration, so short session from my experience, especially in the telco domain. What we have seen, how low-code, no-code solutions, how low-code, no-code platforms have helped transform the solution dimension or the solution architecture in order to provide challenges for ever demanding business demand, to be creative in giving solutions to the customers and connecting heterogeneous systems. And overall, when you put everything together, how to reap accurate and quick business insights by the users themselves. Thank you very much for listening to me. I'm sure you might have queries, questions. If you have such, please send across on this channel. should be able to answer some of those. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Harshan. Great presentation. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in once again. So our next session is a practical speech from Abhijit Bhattacharya. Abhijit is industry advisor and global practice leader at CMI Tata Consultancy Services. So today, Abhijit will be talking about how to accelerate the path towards a digital future. So I will turn it over to Abhijit and hope you enjoy the presentation.
Hi all, thanks for joining this session. This is Abhijit from Tata Consultancy Services, Communication, Media and Information Services Business Unit. Today I'm going to talk about key success factors for telecommunication providers to accelerate the path towards a digital future. It's around a 20-minute session. And acceleration obviously is a multi-step process, and hence I have put in the agenda as follows. I will start off with the drivers, which is how the telcos are evolving. That will be the driver for digital transformation. Then the implications of that. What are the digital transformation areas where the telcos are investing on? What are the platform selection criteria for those different capabilities? And then the transformation patterns and the approach to transformation. This will be the agenda, and I will start off now with the evolution of telcos. Now, when we talk about the digital future, obviously it is very difficult to explain through one word what the future is, because the future is evolving because of the advent of various technologies, including network, cloud, and everything. But one thing is constant in this whole evolution for a telco is customer will be the center of everything. Hence, the digital experience will be a key focus area in this whole digital transformation journey, irrespective of what business model a telco follows. Now, talking about the business model will be obviously characterized by some features. There will be some characteristics which will define the future business model, and we are going to talk about that. The first one is a smart connectivity provider. Telcos have traditionally been connectivity providers. Connectivity services and solutions have been the significant revenue contributor for telcos. Now, as there is more investment in 5G, as networks are getting software defined, there will be a new suite of smart and intelligent connectivity solutions that telcos will launch. Some of these will address new enterprise use cases. Some of these will replace the existing products also. An example is SD-WAN. Similarly, IoT connectivity are some of the connectivity solutions that telcos are investing on, and which will contribute to play a very important role. The next part of this will be the smart services provider. Here, on top of the connectivity solutions, telcos will bring in digital products. An example of this is, if we look at some of the telcos like Rogers, Airtel, MTN, they have bought in banking solutions, which are integrated, vertical integrated solutions. They have bought in and they're offering that to their customers. Similarly, various managed services overlay on top of connectivity providers also fall into this category. And it is expected that this service line or this category will contribute to 50 to 60% of the future growth of telco revenue. The next of this is more of a partner and ecosystem focus. This is all about creating a marketplace or participating in a marketplace. There is already some of the telcos have invested on marketplace. For example, AT&T, Verizon, they have all invested on IoT marketplace. Similarly, many other telcos are also investing on marketplace. And this marketplace provides them an opportunity to bring in all solutions and devices, software platforms all together. So telco can have a bigger pie in this whole value proposition. There are also marketplaces which might be controlled by someone else, and telcos will have an opportunity to participate in that marketplace so that the other providers can, or participants can use the telco service to define a value proposition for the enterprise. The last and fourth one is value creator. Here, the focus is on platform ecosystem. Now, everything is getting software defined. So software platforms are also provides an opportunity for telcos to leverage. And if we look at an example, Telefonica, O2, Vodafone Analytics are some of the examples where telcos have launched data as a service and they have invested on data platforms. Similarly, there can be other platforms also where telcos can invest in the future and that will contribute to the revenue stream. Now, there are different studies, and each of these characteristics as promises to add from 30 to 40% of that future revenue growth. The relative position and relative contribution will vary from telco to telco based on which geographies they are operating, what is the relative position of the telco in the particular industry, whether they are the incumbent, whether they are the challenger, or whether they are a disruptor. Now that we have spoken about the driver, now let's talk about what are the transformation implications. So digital transformation implications is as the business model change, telcos have to invest on multiple capabilities, digital capabilities, to drive that business model change. And these business capabilities, if we want to group it into a few areas, this is how it looks like. At the center is network and cloud, then is products and services, then is subscription and monetization, then is customer experience and data and insights. Now, today we are not going to get into the details of network and cloud, but as all of you would probably know that as networks are getting cloud native, telcos are investing significantly as part of the network. There is a significant investment on cloud. In addition, telcos are building platforms on cloud. They are migrating their workloads, systems, applications on cloud. So that is definitely a huge investment area for telcos, which will underpin the digital transformation. Now, if we go into each of these areas separately, for the want of time, I will just be calling out the key capabilities for each of these areas. If we say products and services, what we spoke earlier is a new set of products and services would be launched by telco. It will not be a traditional two-sided business model, but there will be an n-sided business model, and there will be a big play for the partners also in that. And that will also lead to product proliferation. So telcos need to have a strong product lifecycle management capability to manage that products. They have to have a product catalog which will provide them the capability to launch products quickly, faster time to market, to bundle products quickly. Product performance management capability will help them to assess how the particular product is performing and accordingly make investment decisions. on that product, and then partner catalog, because partners will become a key player in this whole product portfolios that telcos will offer. So how you integrate with partner catalog will also play a very important role. And that capability needs to be built. Now that we have talked about products and services, let's talk about subscription and monetization. So once you have defined the product, you need to sell the product, you need to fulfill the product, you need to invoice the product, and then you have to provide the in-life services for the product. And some of the capabilities here are sales automation, order management, revenue management, partner ecosystem management. Now, the sales automation is all about converting a lead or a prospect into a sale, providing that automated capability, a seamless experience if to both their agents and customer to complete a sales cycle. There are a lot of investments happening here. Many transformation programs are focused on sales automation. It can be on the CRM space, CPQ space. There is significant transformation going on. Next is order management. Now, as the product portfolios will consist of multiple services and multiple partners, a new orchestration capabilities will be required. And also, along with this ability to orchestrate across multiple partners and multiple networks, order management should also provide the ability to give a unified status of the product so that it is centrally, the customer will know, or the internal function will know what is the status of the order. It should have ability to proactively manage faults so that the customer committed dates are maintained. Revenue management, telcos who are investing on 5G would require the convert charging capability in the revenue management area to monetize the 5G opportunities. Similarly, collections, as an example, is another area in the revenue management where the telcos are investing in. And for a partner ecosystem management, this is all about onboarding partners quickly. How do you fulfill your sales process along with the partners for certain products, all of this. And there are various industry standards getting defined to enable that. Now, I'll now move on to the next area, which is all about the customer experience. Irrespective of the business model that telcos will follow, customer experience will play a key role in the whole. And customer experience is all about providing a very seamless interactions across multiple channels, across the different customer lifecycle stages. And the capabilities that the telcos will invest on all around digital experience, marketing, commerce, payments, digital care, and assisted experience, because all of this relates to an interaction from different channels. And the variance is from an experience perspective, telcos need to be more contextual engagement they need to provide, and there will be a set of capabilities that they will be investing on to enable that. Similarly, for digital care, similarly for assisted experience and all, there will be a new set of capabilities that telcos will be investing on. Now, data, we said, is a very important asset because that will help to become an intelligent enterprise. Now, traditionally, data obviously has been used for various business decisions in various functions, but now with the advent of AI ML, you can be much more predictive, and you can be much more insightful about your business, and you can imbibe that, integrate that intelligence into your business process. So there would therefore be investments on enterprise data lakes, customer data platforms, and then all the artificial intelligence and ML platforms. This is also a significant investment area as part of digital transformation. Now, we talked about the different business capabilities. We talked about the business drivers. Then we talked about what are the business capabilities that a telco needs to invest on. Now we would be talking about the next very critical path, that what are the platform or technology selection criteria, because that will define the time and how you can accelerate a digital transformation. And these are some of the selection criteria that we have called it out. For example, cloud native solutions provides the flexibility and also ability to scale. SaaS solutions provides the flexibility to scale up a solution quickly. Low code, no code platform provides the ability to do a change quickly, faster. It improves time to market significantly. Microservices enable modular design. Similarly, helps to improve scalability, to ensure that the design is modular, so you only change the areas that are required, and you can cut short your whole deployment and development cycle significantly. There are many industry solutions available which has pre-integrated processes and data model and all this. Adoption of that also will help into accelerating a transformation. Now, in this new future, the digital future, there will be a significant integration because ecosystem will become an important part, not only within the enterprise across domains, but also with external partners. And an open API-based standard integration compliant to TM Forum ODA will help telcos to accelerate faster because it will reduce the integration time significantly. DevOps is important because development, testing, deployment all contribute to a significant amount in the development lifecycle, and if you are automating that, that will help in accelerating. Security is key because now that everything gets digital and is exposed over multiple channels, security has to be by design. And similarly, for scalability, digital is all about improving scalability. So everything has to be automated. You can't afford to have a manual workarounds. So these are the key criteria for selection of the platforms that will help to accelerate. Now that we have talked about the platforms, let's talk about what are the transformation patterns. How do you go about transforming it? And there are two broad areas. One is the incremental transformation. Here, there will be a continuous capability build and augmentation. For example, they can build a digital front end, then they can invest on a catalog or an order management, and it is an incremental build. There is also, and this is where most of the if you see investments right now are happening, but there is also a trend on greenfield transformation, and the scenarios where greenfield transformations are more common are when they are talking about launching a new product. For example, a new IoT product line is getting launched. Instead of building that onto an existing stack, they're building a new stack for that. Many of the incumbent telcos are launching a new digital brand to compete with the new incumbents, and they are building a new stack for that, more of an MVNO stature. Similarly, some are also have started investing on B2C and B2B, greenfield. There are a few examples in the industry today where people have adapted the greenfield approach for B2C and B2B transformation. Now that we have talked about the transformation pattern, what are the methodologies that telcos will take? Obviously, it has to be a iterative way. It has to be agile methodology. The times of a waterfall model is gone. You cannot afford to spend so much time on a large program. There has to be outcomes delivered much more frequently. And the approach here is starting with customer journey definition into the business capabilities, then into the new revised processes, and then the technology platforms, and then deployment and adapting the new ways of working. Now, the important thing is to, this process is the guidelines. Telcos need to start from where it makes sense. For example, if the journey is all right, and the issue is on the business capability or in an underlying technology, the process can start from that, because that will help remove a lot of time in the initial design. People can start off with from that point of view, from that particular point. So just to summarize, the key areas for acceleration for a telco are: first, the business drivers is critical. Each telcos will have their own business drivers based on the business strategy. That has to be identified and that has to be finalized. Based on that, what are the key capabilities that a telco will need to invest on? Everyone has invested are in a different starting point because they have invested on various things over the say last few years, and that has to be taken into consideration to identify what are the priority areas for investment. Then where a new investment decision is made, either a new capability to build augmentation, then it has to be what solution do you select to do that. And once that is done, whether incremental or a greenfield approach, and then following this methodology. So that's all what I had to cover today. It was a pleasure presenting this in this session, and I would be keen to hear your feedback or your reflections on this. Thanks once again, and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
All right, another great speech by Abhijit. Hope everybody enjoyed that. It's always great to hear this insight from these tremendous thought leaders that we have within our partner networks. So excellent, guys. Moving right along, we're going to be discussing some of the key industry trends for telecom service providers. And before we jump into those, I'd like to take a quick poll of the audience, and you can see this in the chat section of your screens. So in your opinion, what's the most impactful force for the telecom industry? And we have some interesting suggestions today. So is it disruption from political and world events, changing customer demand or expectations, disruption from emerging technologies and trends, changing industry dynamics, challenges from new and old competitors or entrants into the market, and disruptive business models? So in your opinion, what's the most impactful force for the telecom industry? And while we're waiting for that poll result, let's just jump into a few of these key industry trends for telecom. So if we look at it from the perspective of disruption from political and world events, we all know that telecommunication service providers are very highly regulated industries. So whether that's licensing or cross-border regulations, we know that that's always changing, and telecommunication service providers need to stay ahead of that. When we look at world events, we're looking at probably the biggest world event we've seen in at least my history, the COVID-19 pandemic, We know that that drove you know, a lot of digital behavior for human interactions. And you know, while that can have a benefit for telecom service providers, we also know that it can present challenges. You know, so benefits would be, you know, there's a higher demand for the services that service providers are offering, but also it can present a challenge as well. So if we look at you know, it from a human perspective, you know, we know that you know, it provides you know, a way for, you know, human interaction to get less and less, right? So if you look at there's a statistic from Gartner by 2025. Loneliness, collaboration, and communication obstacles are going to be the top workplace struggle for more than 50% of remote workers. And you know, it's up to, you know, service providers to you know, adjust their you know, their employee management strategies, but also they have to be aware that their customers are also going through this this challenge, and how do we provide products and services that are going to help to address that. If we look at changing demands from customers and new customer expectations, you know, this isn't you know, anything new to telecom service providers. We're always having to keep up with changing customer behaviors. You know, we've learned that you know, customers will leave your brand after one bad experience. So how do we stay ahead of that? So this changing customer demand and expectation is something that telecom service providers need to stay out ahead of. So whether that's providing you know, more automation within their workflows, you know, how do we provide that better customer experience you know, than our competitors? You know, it's one of the key differentiators that service providers will have is that level of customer experience that they need to provide, and how that's going to help them differentiate in the market. We need to stay ahead of that because, again, customers have you know, more options. They can leave you know, if they're not satisfied with the service that you're providing. So we need to be innovative on our products. We need to be providing the best level of customer experience that's possible. Disruption from emerging technologies and trends. You know, so again, this also poses you know, an opportunity and a challenge for telecom service providers. You know, the opportunity is that you know, we have you know, more capital to spend. We have you know, technology that is being made available that can help you rapidly go to market with different products very quickly. So it is a benefit that's going to help you compete better in your markets. Also, you know, stay ahead of our competition by being able to recognize a faster time to market with you know, with technologies. But the challenge really is, where do you spend that capital? What in technology are you going to invest in that's going to have the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time? So having a solid investment strategy in new technologies and emerging technologies, again, is going to be crucial for service providers. If we look at changes in industry dynamics, you know, we know that over the next 5 years, you know, changing industry dynamics are going to force, you know, technology providers to adjust their strategies, how they're going to go to market, their willingness to simultaneously collaborate and compete with, you know, other service providers. It's going to be a thin line that we're going to have to walk. If we look at challenges from new and old entrants into the market, we know that there are many people entering into the service provider realm. We may be facing competition from people that we haven't even thought of yet. Never mind, you know, the existing competition. So we need to be able to differentiate ourselves enough to be able to stay ahead of the competition. So it's no longer okay to be on par. It's no longer you know, the ability just to offer you know, one-up services. We really need to think far down the road as to what competitors have we not even thought of yet. and what could we be providing that's going to differentiate ourselves from these new entrants into the market, and also stay ahead of that competition. And really, again, if we go back to the new technologies that are becoming available, that's really going to empower and enable telecom service providers to do that, right? We're going to be able to provide that better customer experience. We're going to be able to leverage technologies like cloud, no-code technology, where we're bringing in non-technical people into the process and enabling those business ideas to emerge quickly and help us stay ahead. So we know that those challenges are there, and we need to be prepared. And disruptive business models, if we look at that from an industry trend, there's an interesting statistic from Gartner as well. Through 2025, technology advancements and the availability of capital and shorter development cycles are going to provide for those innovative vendors leveraging these disruptive business models. So it predicts that by 2025, the fastest growing tech providers will generate 50% of revenue from generative or platform business models leveraging cloud computing. So again, we want to be able to disrupt the market with technology that's going to enhance the way our customers and our buyers consume our products. So changing those business models and being able to stay ahead of those competitors within your marketplace is going to be key. And I think that if we go back to Harshan's and Abhijit's presentations, a lot of that is being brought out, right? How do we do that? And we at Creatio, we feel that a faster time to market is going to lead to a faster time to value as well. And that's really how to, leverage a business model that's going to enable you to pivot and adjust very quickly to changing business models. So these are just some of the key industry trends that we're seeing. Let me just check the poll results here to see what our audience said. So the question again was, in your opinion, what's the most impactful force for the telecom industry? And coming in at number one was changing in the industry dynamics. So again, how the industry is changing, merging, and evolving seems to be the biggest impact that we're seeing from the audience. Everything else was very even throughout the poll. Customer demand and expectations, emerging technologies and trends, challenges from new entrants, and disruptive business models all came in pretty evenly throughout the poll. So thank you for participating. And again, we need to start to think of those industry trends as we plan for the future, and how we're going to adjust. Excellent. So that brings us to our next session, which is our no-code spotlight. So today we're going to be seeing a demonstration from our Senior Enterprise Solution Manager, Nandish Madhapati. And Nandish is going to walk us through how no-code can help a customer-centric strategy in a telecom company. So we're going to be looking at omni-channel service and NPS scoring. So Nandish, I'll turn it over to you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the demo session of leveraging no-code for a customer-centric strategy in a telecom company, particularly focused on the omni-channel service and also NPS score. So the way we're going to structure the demo is I'm going to first pretend to be a customer in the portal side of the house. We're going to create a ticket for a B2B customer for a telecom company. And then see how that case is being transitioned over to the L1 side of the house, right? And then once the L1 starts working on the case, they will start communicating with the customers in a variety of manner: phone calls, emails, Facebook, portal, the traditional and the non-traditional channels. And then they will pass that on to L2 and maybe field service technicians. And then we'll try to get the feedback from the customer, whether the service was great or not. So with that, let me first log into the Creatio portal. as a customer. So Alexander Wilson is one of the customers of Creatio. In this case, they are a B2B customer of a telecom company. When they are taken into their portal side of the house, they are taken to the main page where they see all of the active orders. So the orders that are completed, for example, in this case, order number 562 has been marked as completed. So just by clicking on that, they are taken into their order status to say that, hey, what is going on with this order details, right? What are some of the order details in there? Where are we on the delivery stage? What is going on from a general information? What are the is the payment status completed, or is the delivery status completed? Those kinds of details you'll be able to get very quickly using them. And these are also various the dashboards, how many orders, how many cases, how many contracts, and then of course certain number of subscriptions, right? How many employees have a subscription, about 10 of them, and how are we dividing those 10 into 3, 4, and 3 from IT, 4 from marketing, and 3 from service. And what are those, who are those 10 people whose employees subscriptions do we have from a wireless service perspective, right? So these are all the numbers, phone numbers of the employees of for the company that Alexander Wilson works, which billing is being supporting that, which groups are those, and what is the IMSI number, and so on and so forth. So this gives you a very good perspective. At the same time, if they're looking to make a case management, they also need to know what kind of services are being rendered. So from a given SLA perspective, these are all the services that is available for them to get services from a service perspective, and also from an incident perspective, right? Device replacement, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and create a new case and see how that case is being transitioned over to the main application. So we start off by creating a service request, and then you'll notice that the SLA is automatically identified because we already know who that person is. Within that service request and the SLA, these are the various services that are allowed. I can talk about billing dispute. I can talk about consultations from the contracting perspective as well, what I can then do is maybe I have an issue understanding equipment usage. As soon as I do that, these are all the various response time and the resolution times that is available for me. So now I can go ahead here and say that I need help troubleshooting one of the sensors, right? So whatever that may be, right? So I can go ahead and publish that. And basically what I'm doing here is to notifying that, hey, I'm having some issues with this particular census that was sent to me. I need some help with that. So what has happened is a new case 153 has been created automatically. So now let's go ahead and start looking at it from the overall perspective of what is going on, right? So this case has been, I'm now logged in as System Administrator 1. So basically what has happened is in the background, what we're going to do is we're going to communicate to that email, obviously. But then I'm going to go ahead to the L1 service. So I'm now working as a first line service, field service rep. And when I go to the cases that has been created of late, then I can see a brand new case 153 was created. I can go ahead and pick that case up and assign that case to myself. So I'll make sure that no other agent is working on that. This is assigned strictly to me. Then I can take a look at what are the various workflows that is assigned from new, in progress, and so on, so stages. And then I can also see that the source is coming from the portal, which means that this is a portal created case management. And then I also know that I have some time to respond and then resolve this case within a particular time frame, right? So this is giving me a sense of what is going on. Then I also see the churn rate is about 33, which means that the churn rate is pretty low. So I can be very, somewhat less guarded as I'm speaking to the customer, because I know that the customer is not going to leave and go somewhere else. So first thing that I need to do is I need to verify the customer details, and I want to check the status of the contract, and then I want to see if the customer has tried to resolve the issue, right? So let's go ahead and first verify the customer details. So let's click on Alpha Trucking to see, does this customer, Alexander Wilson, even have authority to do all of these things, right? So first things is I want to go ahead to the customer hierarchy, realize that, oh, okay, they are a fairly big customer. They have a lot of subsidiaries in here, so that is okay. Then I can go into the contract side of the house. Then I see that they have a contracts for mobile, IoT, and fixed line. And then if I can go into the orders side, I see there are multiple orders in here. Some of them have been completed. Some of them are in the draft stage. So for example, I can pick 557. In this case, I realized that the order number 557 is currently has been completed. It is for the fleet tracker solution. And then if I go into the order status, I realize that from the billing system, I have found out that the order was indeed validated. This is the IoT, which is the issue that the sensors that the customer had. The fulfillment already has been done, and the shipment also has been completed. So I do know that everything has been completed. So the customer record is indeed correct. So I don't have any issues surrounding that. So I can go back to my case from here on. I can say that, okay, everything checks out. The customer details are indeed correct. So let me go ahead and mark that is completed. And then also the contract status is also completed, so that there is no issue with that as well. The next thing that I want to do is to see if the customer has tried to solve this issue or simply reached out to us without trying anything. So what I'm going to do is use the omni-channel way in which I can communicate to the customer, whether that be a phone call. So I can pick up the phone right here, and then I can make a quick dial to the customer and then say, hey, can I, I can do that? Or I can send out an email. So I can open up this email client and I can say regarding case number 153, it's the same thing. I can say that, I can pick one of these things in here and say that, case assigned to group or something like that. I can use these ones, and I can say, have you tried, have you tried solving the issue? Right? I can do that. I can send that. So you can see that that email has been sent out as well. And then I can also go into the globe, which is the portal side, and say, I am working on this issue. Have you tried to solve it? Right? Then I can also attach a file in here, maybe as a help guide or whatever that may be, and say that, hey, this is a file for you. See if this can be helpful. So basically, what I've done is I have used the portal side of the house. I've sent out an email. I also made a phone call, and then all of that information is available from the timeline perspective, right? So timeline has pretty much every single detail of things that are done, and also from a processing perspective, you can see these are all the things that I've done. And of course, you can see that that email that I just sent out, have you tried solving the issue, also shows up in the portal. And as this is connected to Alexander Wilson, he can respond back and say, yes, I have. It has not worked. So these kinds of omni-channel ways of back and forth communications can happen back and forth as well, right? Meanwhile, the customer comes in and says, well, what's going on with this? Let me open this up. And then he sees that, hey, John Best has saying that I'm working on this issue. He's also sent me an email where he said he just tried resolving the issue, but he's still not progressed it. Okay, so that's okay. Let's see what we can do with this, right? So then what I can do next is I can proceed this to the in progress stage and then notify the customer that, hey, I'm actually taking it to the next level of in progress. So now if you go back to the customer side and then look at from a portal perspective, you'll see that the status is now marked to in progress. It is no longer in the new stage. So this is how they have the visibility to see, oh, okay, so it's progressing in the right direction. So I can check the knowledge base for any identification. I can go in here. I can say, show me all of the knowledge articles for sensors. I can pick these two up as well. And then I can mark the knowledge base for identification. I can mark this as completed. And then I can troubleshoot the issue, right? So these are all things that I can easily do and see if these things fixes the problem, right? But if it doesn't fix the problem, what I can then do is I can simply escalate this to L2, right? So what I'm saying that is, hey, I need some help. And then I'm going to assign this to the second line support to say that this is critical. And I'm going to assign this to second line support, go back to the customer and say, escalated to second line support and publish that. So in addition to the portal side, you're also noticing that we support the Facebook Messenger, we support the Telegram, we support WhatsApp as well. Now, if you simply go to our marketplace application and search for any of the chat information, you'll see that we support chatbots, through Solmate or through BSender. We also support Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook chat as well. And we also support Viber. So those are all the very stronger ones that we support in terms of how we want to connect them. It's very easy. You can simply click on them. It describes to you how is that user interface is going to look like between Creatio and all of those things. It requires a license and also a business account. That's why I'm not able to show that to you in the demo, but all of that information is available. Simply search with the keyword chat in the marketplace and you'll find those connectors to help you out. All right, so now I assigned this to second line support. So let's see what that user experience is going to look like. Well, typically what will happen is the second line of support may be in the same country, maybe in a different country. That's okay. So what we'll do is we'll log in as William Walker. William Walker is located in this case in, say, Latin America or some Spanish speaking country. So what Creatio will enable for us to do is then log in to the Creatio applications in a different language. So now you're seeing that the language is actually in Spanish. Then if you go into the activities, you will now see that there is a verification in here, a task, and this task is connected to the case 153, which is the same case that the customer already has for 153. So what William Walker can do is simply open up that case as well, and then be taken directly into the case record. He then will have full visibility into what is going on from a processing perspective, what are all of the issues that has happened. So he gets to know everything. And then he can actually complete that task, all right? And then once the task has been completed, maybe he himself has not been able to resolve this issue. In that case, he may then position this to the field technician visit and then say that I need somebody from the field side to go and actually visit the customer, right? So those things can happen. So I'm going to assign this to the field service and then save this application. And then I can go ahead and finish up the rest of my remainder of my task and do whatever I need to do. Right. So you can see that this is how we are escalating from L1 to L2, all done through internal communications, omni-channel instead of Creatio, very seamless way. So what I can then do is also that I can simply go into either the mobile applications or log in as Simon Clark as well. Let me log in with the right credentials in here. And then, of course, I can go into the activities and I have my own activities in there, or I get my own dashboards to say what are the tasks that is assigned to me. You can see that I need to visit Alpha Trucking Company for case number 153. That case is already connected to 153 as well, which is the same case that the customer has been created. Meanwhile, he will notice that the case which was previously in the in progress stage is now in the field technician visit. So that status has changed as well, right? So what I'll do next is I will, from this perspective, I will open up case 153. Take a look at everything that is going on from a timeline perspective. So field technician also is on the same space right now. Then what I can then do is I will then mark this case as completed. Then go into the feed mechanism in here, and then I will tag John Best, who is the person who was in charge of that. And as you can see, John Best is the person working on that from a Elver perspective. I can say all set. There is nothing wrong with the equipment. User error or something like that, right? So I can put that as a feed mechanism. So internally, I am now notifying my original field rep, the service rep, to say that I visited, I did everything, and this is all set. And then I can mark this as resolved, or I can let John Best do that. So it's up to him. So you can see that that task actually vanished from there as well. So what can happen next is this communications has to go back to the customer again, right? So the John Best is working on many other cases. He gets notified that, hey, Simon Clark mentioned to you in a message. Let me click on that. He's then taken into this ticket and say that, hey, there's all set. There's nothing wrong with the equipment, user error. So I can then communicate back and say that all set and closing the ticket now, right? So this is how I can communicate back and forth. Then I'm going to go ahead and mark this ticket as resolved. So as far as the service is concerned, that 153 ticket has been marked as resolved status. So the customer comes back and then reopens the case, decides that, oh, that case has been resolved. Let me go ahead and open that up. And now I get a new notification to collect the feedback. So this is how we have transitioned from a communications between the customer and the company, and then looked at the omni-channel way in which the company itself is communicating about one ticket. And now, once that case has been resolved, now we are soliciting feedback from the customer, right? So these are all various ways in which you can collect that feedback. So in this case, we can collect satisfaction level. They're marked as 5. It doesn't have to be this. This can all be configured. So in this case, I'm going to say that satisfaction level maybe is extremely poor. So anytime I select extremely poor or poor, then the case is automatically reopened. Anything like excellent or good will actually mark the case as closed. So just for the sake of this, I'm going to mark this as extremely poor and say that the technician didn't fix it or something like that. Didn't fix the issue. So I'm now notifying that the technician did not fix the issue. I am not happy with this. So I'm going to mark this as saved, right? So basically what is going on right now is this status, which was marked as resolved previously, has been marked as reopened. So even though the marked issue was resolved as resolved, it is now marked as reopened. So you can see the same thing. If I go in here, the case from a customer perspective has been reopened. If you go into the closure and feedback, you will see that it was resolved successfully, but then the satisfaction from the customer is extremely poor. The technician didn't fix the issue, has come through, and now I have to go back and start fixing this issue one more time. So this is how we are communicating back and forth between the customers. So with that, what I've done is I've given you a higher level overview of a case management that was created from the portal side, and showed you how you can go back and forth from the portal. And then I showed you how an email can be exchanged back and forth between the customer, how you can send out and make a quick phone call, as I showed you previously in here, and how you can use all of these WhatsApp and Telegram, Facebook Messenger chat to communicate through omni-channel with the client, and also use feed to communicate internally between your employees. So with that, let me take 1 or 2 small questions, and then we'll end the demo. The first question in the chat is, which channels are available for integration to create your platform? Can I integrate Viber? Yeah, like I said, these are all the channels that are available: Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook. Viber is also available through the B sender as part of it. Our service, the second question is, our service configuration, order fulfillment, customer care, and billing are becoming increasingly complex. Is there any way no code can handle this complexity? The short answer is yes. If you recall, I took you into the account section. From the account section, there was the customer hierarchy, and there was the contracts. So this was a contracts that was part of it. If you open up the contracts, it has a lot of contract details in here, right? And these are all the products that are contracted. There are multiple orders as part of that, right? So all of these complex way of managing complex contracts, subsequent orders, each of those orders results in multiple subscriptions from the wireless side of the house, IoT from the IoT side of the house, wireline, and multiple billing accounts. These are all very easily can be modified inside of Creatio. So this is where we perform very well. And let me take one last question. I am from engineering and we work on multiple projects at the same time. Does Creatio provide tools for collaboration and capabilities for project management? Yes, we do provide tools for collaboration. I already mentioned about the feed, internal feed, and for the as far as the project management is concerned, there is a project module inside of Creatio that you can attach it to opportunity or any other object, and there is a basis in which you can start have different structures and start monitoring them from a date, time, and completion perspective. All right, so I think this is a good point for us to stop. I hope this was very helpful to understanding how we can use no code, particularly on an omnichannel service and NPS. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Love seeing Nandish in action. That was a great demonstration of how no code can help accelerate workflows within the telecom industry. So, hey, that brings us to our last session. I always look forward to these. So today I'm joined by a distinguished, I should say, panel. So today I'm joined by Dr. Ashok Sapaya, co-founder and CEO of Mitra Innovations. Ashok, how are you? Long time no see, my friend.
Yeah, nice to be back, Eric. Thank you.
All right, excellent. And Dr. Kalal Basu, head of global strategy and branding, enterprise application services at TCS. Kalal, how are you? Oh, we got you on mute, Kalal.
Hi, how are you?
There we go. All right, there we go. Digital information sharing here. We just got to figure out the communication platforms. Excellent. So today, guys, we'll be talking about 6 forces that might have the greatest impact on telecom. I'm not going to let them limit us though to 6. So if we want to go beyond 6, they can't place limits on us like that. We can talk about as many as you want. So let me just stop my screen share so I can see you better. How is everybody today? Gentlemen, you doing well?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. All right. So to get the discussion started, we have to look at, we talked a little earlier in our session about, the impact, whether those are political or, world events that have impacted the telecom industry. And, Ashok, maybe I'll pose this first question to you, and then we can chime in as we move through the discussion. But we all know that in 2020 we were hit with a global pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. How do you think that has changed the telecom industry for the foreseeable future?
Well, it's a fantastic way to open the discussion, Eric. I mean, what we saw is when people moved for remote working, the demand for telco shifted from a corporate network to a highly distributed network. So broadband demand went through the roof. The good news is all over the world, the telco was able to handle that. They were able to smoothly transition. Some corporates, I know some of the banks in Central Europe struggled because they didn't have the network or Cisco couldn't scale up, etc. But I think now we passed that. I think the challenge for telco is if this becomes the new norm, in other words, hybrid working, how do you switch collaboration between a corporate-based environment versus a remote-based environment? There's a lot of challenges around. That's one thing we are seeing it. The second is we are getting more and more comfortable with mobile-based telecom usage, mostly data. I think Bill Gates said almost 5 years of technology acceleration happened virtually in 1 year. So that means if more people are comfortable with mobile devices, how do telco handle that streaming? I can't remember calling people on the normal phone. It's WhatsApp. Got some video calls or FaceTime. So the telco has a big challenge in terms of handling that level of capabilities through a variety of apps using the 5G capability. And I think beyond that, the telco itself is getting highly commoditized, isn't it? It's a broadband is given, mobile capabilities given it's all about apps driving high value data. So there are a lot of challenges that I'm seeing for telcos, and the competition is coming with more hybrid way. Just like the challenger banks, there are a lot of challenger telcos coming with new ways of communicating and collaborating. So how do they coexist is it's a big challenge. And the last point I would say is media is merging a lot faster than it was. I mean, it was happening like BT went with BT Vision and so on, but now it's so interconnected. I know, for example, my daughter, I think, spends more hours streaming content on a phone than attending classes. So the world is changing quite a lot. So it's a big challenge for the telcos.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think that that demand is going to continue into the future, right? It's been how we got our entertainment. It's how we shop now. You know, we're doing everything digitally. I look at what was it over the weekend? I streamed the new James Bond movie. You know, right into my right into my house. I didn't need to go to the movie theater or anything, which is an experience I always enjoyed. But now we we want to consume that internally. So I think that you'll see that trend continue into the future. And the telecoms, as you said, Ashok, have really stepped up. They've been able to keep up with that demand. So it's been quite impressive. Kalal, I guess the next question I'll pose to you. So when we think about the future, let's look at the near term. So we've got we're wrapping up 2021. What do you think that telecom leaders must focus on and take into consideration in 2022?
Absolutely. That's a great question, and Ashok, I think, answered pretty much the key pivots, or rather the main considerations that based on which we should define 2022. So, if I look from a point of view of the CSPs, they're investing to accelerate their transformation by focusing on, I would say, number one will be unlocking the new business model opportunities around 5G, IoT, B2B2X, vertical services and ecosystems. And what has emerged as a very, very important key lever, which wasn't there pre-pandemic, is the transformation to the experience economy and the customer delight by rapidly creating more and more digital experiences across the assisted and omni-channel channels. So customers would like to be associated with a telco, whether it's B2B or B2C customer, as being easy to do business with. And that means customer experience has taken huge importance over the last 1 year or so. And this also implies that you need to adapt your operational processes to support the new business models, new partnerships, which needs a very robust back office. So telcos would need a flexible, modern, integrated system that wouldn't really compromise on security and stability. And from an IT standpoint, also another thing that I'd like to mention is the boundaries are blurring. So telcos are eating up into retailers. Retailers are getting into. So the borders are very, very thin now. I mean, it's pretty much blurring. Telcos, media is almost like interchangeable. So also, IT plays a very important role to modernize and innovate the operating platforms. And we did a recent survey, and we found that more than 40% of the CSPs are moving to public cloud, are considering movement to public cloud in the foreseeable 1 or 2 years. That's a major trend, which telcos were perceived to be very conservative in this manner. So this pandemic has really accelerated the digital transformation that the telcos needed to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. When we have such, consolidated mergers and acquisitions within the industry. You know, it's there's a lot of technology, legacy technology that's been being brought together, right? Like, you know, telecom organizations have had decades worth of you know, customer interactions stored in many different systems, and then, you know, you acquire or you merge with you know, another provider, and all of that information needs to be, you know, combined. How do you leverage all of that and bring it together? So yeah, it's a big challenge, and I'm seeing it with the customers that we're talking to, and couldn't also agree more with you know, that customer delight in the customer experience, and being able to offer you know, additional services. I look at, you know, I've got my new iPhone. It's an iPhone for life program that I've got you know, a year's worth of Netflix included within my plan, right? So they're delighting me with all of these different offers and attracting me you know, to remain a customer, right? And we have a choice now. So it's going to be those providers that you know, really are able to capture that and stay ahead of their competitors. So, you know, great insight there. Let's move on to another question. So as we're looking at how telecoms are having to reinvent themselves within the industry, Ashok, I'll point this one to you. You know, how do telecom service providers create an effective blueprint into their reinvention strategy? How are they reinventing themselves, and how are they mapping that out, you know, for the future? What is the best approach?
I think we are seeing that already happening, Eric. The telecom's been faced with a lot of challenges for the last 5 to 8 years. Of course, COVID made it even more challenging, but I think I personally think telco did really well during in the last 2 years. But as Kalol mentioned, the business model is the biggest challenge for them. You know, they are traditionally used to charging by usage, whether it's a B2B or B2C. Now it's the bundling concept coming in together, like you're saying, Netflix, various data scheme. When if you're a frequent traveler, corporate frequent traveler, there are a lot of bundling. And I think I saw somewhere in Asia, Thailand or somewhere, one of the telcos, even bundling in pharmacy and some of the other services into the, like a life science capability into the packaging. So when you bring in these bundles, the telcos have to collaborate a lot. Now they're used to collaborating with B2B players, all from a telco infrastructure perspective, but how do you collaborate more on the services side? That's a complex problem to deal with. So it's a business model. They're forced to collaborate with partners that are traditionally not familiar with doing that. The charge model needs to be rethought. People, rather than, you know, a lot of people are, whether it's a corporate or consumer, they're happy to buy a fixed price charge model, but then they're expecting a lot more to be included. If they don't include it, they'll bypass and buy it from another third-party provider streaming onto the same mobile platform, right? So the charge model is a third one they need to reinvent completely. And the fourth one is telcos have to become media players. There's no other choice. You know, if you're not a telco, if you're not a media player, I don't think you're going to survive in the next 5 years, or you'll get acquired by the giants like Verizon's of the world, right? So when you say media, I'm not talking about Sky and Virgin and that kind of media. It's the content creation. So like you mentioned, James Bond, you know, Disney launched their movie recently in the theater, but they also made it available on the platform, but at a higher price, right? So the consumer has a choice to go to a cinema or to watch it at home on the day one at a higher price, or wait for 6 months and pay your subscription model. And that's on the B2C side. I can see B2B also offering similar programs. So let's take a corporate training program. The telcos could bundle that as part of their program to large corporates and offer it in a large scale, where the corporate training media is available to all their corporate customers for a price more convenient for the customer, more attractive, and for the content creators, the training organization, it's channel partnering. So telco takes them to all the corporates. So I think they just need to reimagine their business model. That fundamentally is the business model where they want to be 10 years from now. That's more on the operation side. I think the other one is more on the financial modeling, which is the environmental, social, and governance perspective, ESG, from COP26 to various other program. There's a lot of scrutiny going into manufacturing and financial services sector. Telco less so, but I think a lot of pressure will come into telcos for their data center, energy consumption, what kind of energy they consume to distribute the 5G network, etc. And what we are seeing is in the other industries, almost every $4 out of $10 that are invested in the corporates are ESG sustainability impact based. So, and I don't see a lot of telcos doing that in a big, I mean, they are doing it from a PR perspective, but they're not adopting United Nations sustainability goals. So I think they need to rethink. They really need to rethink from that perspective.
Got it. What tremendous insight. And I'm getting the wrap up signal here, guys. So I want to pose one last question, Kalal. I'll point this one to you. We look at emerging technologies within the industry. So if we're looking at, the investments that telecom service providers are going to have to make in order to, take advantage of these emerging technologies, what do you think are the top technologies or emerging technologies that, CIOs and digital leaders, should be investing in and preparing for 2022 and beyond? Oh, we might have lost Kalal. Are you there?
We may have lost him.
We may have lost him. So I guess I'll shift gears and I'll send that one to you, Ashok.
And I'll keep it to 2 minutes.
There we go. All right.
So if the question is around trends, I think it's about, I think Kalal is back. Is Kalal back?
Might be having some bandwidth issues.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
Talking about
telecom, right?
Yeah, telecom, exactly. No, I think we already covered that in terms of trend. How do you bring in media into the program? How do you support multi-geography, multi-work environment type of corporate environment for facilitating that capability, internal processes? Especially one thing we didn't talk about is dynamic agility. So if business wants to launch a new program, a new service offering to the customers because they see the demand, in the past, it takes about 12 to 18 months to roll out the new program. Can I do this in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, right? Which we see it in the other industries. So telco also need to be able to adopt it. I mean, we are working with BT, for example, OpenReach in the UK. It takes a long time to get approval and launch anything. So how do they implement new capabilities is a very, very important functionality. So it's a combination of media, bringing media trends, business model, changing the business model. How do I attract customers with a different business model? And then leveraging the new technologies that are coming out in the market. So for example, can I understand the customer experience at the macro level? And can I use AI technology to leverage and provide more targeted campaign to the customer and give them the product they want as part of the bundle? So it's a very sophisticated level of personalization.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's going to be those that are able to master that, right? How do we automate processes that are going to make it easier for them to do business? How are we going to be able to leverage technology that will hyper personalize offers to their customers? I think that is absolute key to the near and long-term future. So Thank you very much for that. So that brings us to the end of our session. I could go on and on. I think this is a topic that probably deserves an hour, but I'm very, very pleased to be speaking with you gentlemen today, and hope that we have some sessions together in the future. But thank you very much for joining us, Ashok, Kalal. Thank you very much
Thanks,
for
Eric.
your time today.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, guys, that brings us to the end of today's session. So hopefully we've been able to provide some interesting thoughts and some ideas on how to progress your digital workflows and automation into the near future. So I'd also like to invite and remind the audience to join us tomorrow. Again, we're going to be continuing with our industry days, and tomorrow we're going to be focusing on marketing. So industry workflow automation within marketing. Again, we have a thought leadership session. We're going to be having a success story as well as a no-code spotlight showing how no-code can help to automate those industry workflows within the marketing industry. So we'll also have a nice digital circle similar to what we just wrapped up with Ashok and Kalal. So please be sure to join us for that. And as a reminder, we've seen this a couple of times today, but it's such an important event that we feel the need that we need to remind everybody to join us for this exciting product-related launch that we're having called our Freedom Release. It will be our Creatio 8.0 release, and we'll be announcing that on February 8th. So please be sure to come out and register for that event. Get it in your calendar because it promises to be highly exciting. So I'd like to thank everybody again, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody again tomorrow. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.